So Hollyhock is a lifelong learning center on beautiful Cortez Island, and we offer programs in wisdom, it's a new thing, wisdom, wellness, creativity, movement, and liberation. And so we're offering these HOCKSHOPs, which are practical how-to sessions with some of our favorite Hollyhock presenters. And so you are here for the second one. We also have a couple more coming up that I'll share with you later. And they are free and by donation. And at a time like this, when we have had to postpone the start of our season, your donations mean the world to us. So thank you for being here. And now, without further ado, I'm going to pass it off to our wonderful presenters, Robert Gath and Judith Ansara. They have been teaching at Hollyhock for 25 years, and they have been married, brace yourselves, for 51 years. So I'd encourage you at, after you've been married for 25 years, start teaching at Hollyhock, and then you'll extend the life of your relationship by another 25 years perhaps. But we're so grateful to have them here. They bring such a joy, and they're so delightful to work with. So I'll pass it over to Robert and Judith. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you so much, Laurel. I'm just going to try to, there we go. Hi, everybody. It's so nice to be you. We were scrolling through and definitely saw some familiar faces, and hi to everyone else. We're here in Boulder, Colorado, where we've been, like most of you have been in your home. So we wanted to just share a little about what we're planning to do in our brief time together. So really the purpose of this is to give you a chance to reflect about how this time, I hate to define COVID, but it kind of seems to become a meme. So we're wanting to give you an opportunity to drop in yourself, to drop in a bit with your partner. We'll be doing some dialogue for those of you who are with your partner, which looks to be about 77% of us are here with your partner. And for those of you who don't have your partner with you on those few times when we are doing something that's interactive, we'd invite you just to write and then share the experience or the exercise later with your partner. Guided meditation. Yeah, I think that's really, we want to do a sense of what are some of the challenges and some good tips for how to work with some of the things that we're experiencing during this time, and to give you a couple of experiences, guided processes that may serve you. So that's kind of the flow of our about an hour that we have together. You want to add anything? No. No? Okay. So we're going to ask you, we're going to start with a brief guided meditation. So what I'd like you to do is just sit up comfortably. You don't have to make a big thing of it, but nice, easy, relaxed posture. And if you would, close your eyes. And let your body settle into your seat.
I didn't get that.
Take some deep breaths and just follow the flow of breath without trying to alter the breathing in any way, just letting awareness track the breath through the body down to the belly, watching its natural turning and release. And as you continue to let yourself settle on the breath, imagine that the energy is going from all that mental energy that most of us are engaged with during our days. Many of us are on screens a lot of the time, and again, here you are. So in these moments, let the eyes rest. Let the mind rest. Feeling energy coming, drifting down on the breath, right into the belly. And feel the feet, your feet on the floor or wherever they are, but imagine those roots that connect us to this beautiful planet. And feel yourself here. And as we breathe, letting the concerns, the thoughts, the emotions that for many of us have been churning around quite a lot during these months. And just for these moments, give yourself the gift of settling. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, just here. And to assist this even more, we're going to do 3 rounds of breath, a deep full inhale, and then on the exhale. Whatever sound helps you just let go a little more. So here we go. 1, inhaling. And again. And once more. And the invitation now is to be aware of the field of uncertainty that has been present for you personally, for your community, your family, your country, and the world. That this unique phenomenon of COVID, of a pandemic, of a global scale, has thrown so much of what we thought we knew into upheaval that we can't predict, we can't control. And without taking a dive into that, just be aware of how that unsettling has been playing out in your experience. And feel how it's been playing out in your partnership. And just breathe, let that go, let it go. Gone, not here, just back to the breath. And let's invite another perspective on that things have never been certain, that so many of our conditioned responses, behaviors, thoughts are designed to attempt to give us a sense of control. And yet, life always does itself. There are some things, yes, we can influence and take charge of, but there's much of life we can't. So invite in these moments a willingness to befriend and be befriended by uncertainty. To learn how to rest with not knowing, with not being able to control. To rest even with the grief or anxiety that may come up around that, the frustration. Can we welcome it all in our hearts, in our minds? And may we find a way, first and foremost, to be at ease as best we can in all the unfolding moments, with letting life be as it is and cultivating a sense of trust. And take a few moments to feel that groundedness, that capacity to be fully present in all conditions. And if you're sitting next to your partner, just reach out and touch them. And those of you who don't have your partner present, just imagine them next to you. And allow yourself to have a moment, more moments than that even, of appreciation and gratitude that you have a beloved partner to walk through this life and this time with. And take another moment now to feel the field of family and community that you have been traveling through this time with. Feel your connections, even though you're not seeing people. And another few moments, here we are in yet another community of heart and spirit, of commitment to serving the world as best we can, of something like 100 couples here tonight. And feel that you too are part of this, part of a community of committed couples wanting to live a conscious and kind and embodied loving partnership. And gently opening your eyes.
Thanks, Judith. So I was speaking with a friend this morning, and it was just one of those moments. It was like, he asked, do you sometimes wake up and wonder if this is like a dream? You know, this can't be real. And here it is, it's months afterwards, and still, it's like, really? Really the world changed this much in these few months? It was impossible to have imagined that it could have. Our personal lives, individually and as couples, have been caught up in global events far beyond anything we can control. There's a lot of suffering. Some of us have been fairly safe and secure from that. Others of us not. Incredible strains financially in the world, economic systems, political systems are in upheaval. And here we are in our little lives, kind of like with this big storm going around us, and it impacts us. It impacts us in different ways. Just a quick look at your surveys. 4 of you have had COVID. Numbers of you know people who've had the virus. Several of you actually are out on the front lines working every day, actually, since the beginning of the virus to take care of us. Bless you. Thank you for doing that. Some of us, you know, we talk to a lot of couples. We are a couple also. We know our experience. And people are having a very wide range of experiences. For some people, we hear it's like, you know, this has been awesome. I mean, I'm an introvert. I don't have to like deal with too much anymore. And we've really taken this time to go deep. It's been very sweet for some of us. For some of us, it's like the external circumstances have been so challenging. It's put strain on the couples. We've had an experience, we experience out in our work in the world also with organizations and leaders. It's like the virus and the conditions have turned a flame up under conditions. And a lot of things that were are like what they were, but they're hotter now. And some of the couples we've been talking to, that's very much what couples are experiencing. It's like, yeah, those issues we had over the last year or 20 years, they're there, but they're actually a little hotter now. There's like less to distract us. So we're trying to create an evening where wherever you are on that spectrum, hopefully you can turn towards the challenges that are here, but also the opportunities, because we do believe there are some here at a time like this for us as couples to deepen our journey. So we're going to ask you a series of questions, and we would like you to literally raise your hands if you feel this appears to you, that it speaks for you. If you're in a couple, don't wait to see what your partner does. Like, raise your hand independently, and you kind of see, oh, like we felt the same way about that. We felt differently. So see if you can take that risk of like
yeah, and you can process
autonomous
about it later.
Yeah, that's an advanced workshop. Just the lost leader will help you with the things that kind of arise in the next 3 minutes. Okay, so if you feel that overall this COVID period has been stressful for you as part of a couple, raise your hands.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to take
Yeah,
a minute
we
to
have a lot of
scroll through
screens
the gallery a little.
Mine's on the other
Oh, okay.
one. Okay. Judith, take it away.
Okay. Raise your hand if overall this time of COVID has been a time of deeper connection for you as a couple. Yeah.
Great. By the way, some of you raised your hands for both of those questions, and that's totally awesome. You really can raise your hands for anything that feels
I would
like
probably
it speaks to
do
you.
that.
Yeah. Okay. Often it feels like the details of life at home haven't created, there's not like a lot of time, energy left for intimate connection after handling all the things we have to handle. Raise your hands if that's true for you.
Yeah.
Should we talk about intimate connection, some of the challenges of COVID at this time? Put this on.
Oh, right.
Yeah, there are a lot of challenges around intimate connections.
Yes,
in the time
like
of
this. Hard.
Okay.
But you get to take your masks off. So let me just see hands of those of you who are both now working from home. Okay. So has our home felt like having a co-working space? Has it been challenging to do that or to manage the boundaries between work and home? Raise your hands if that's been a factor for you guys.
How about one of us is more extroverted, one of us is more introverted, and somewhat kind of managing that extroversion and introversion has been interesting or challenging in some way over this
Need for space, need for connection. All right. I see a bunch of hands on that one. One of us may be a enthusiastic reader and digester of all the news, all the data, all the research, and the other person maybe want that in a more moderated amount.
I'm seeing a lot of
How many
laughter around
couples
here.
does that apply to?
Definitely. Okay. This is an interesting one. We've been talking to some couples about this lately. It's like we're having to manage differences as the world's starting to open up between one person feeling more safe, wanting more engagement, maybe someone else in the couple being more concerned around engagement, having to manage those differences around how much engagement different people want. How many of you have been experiencing something like that?
Yeah. We've been talking with friends as Boulder and Colorado we're now safer at home rather than safe at home, and we will continue to be safer at home because we're older. But in our kind of pod of close friends who have all been sequestered for months, people are making different choices. There's the person who got the haircut in her garden, and the other person who decided it was okay to go get a massage because he had back surgery, but we're not allowed to pet his dog. So, it's like everybody is unique. And what we've all agreed is, there's not necessarily a right way to do this. So,
except if you're a couple, you sort of have to figure out what is our collective way.
Right. The thing we didn't have on this that I do want to ask, because I do notice that quite a few of you do have kids at home. For how many of you has kind of trying to manage homework, children out of school, been a challenge, a significant factor for you? Yeah, quite a few of you.
There's two more here. For how many of you does it feel like the expression we use, like the challenges of COVID have sort of turned up the heat on kind of relational challenges? How many of you are experiencing something like that?
Yeah, and I would just say on that, along with that is sometimes our own personal stuff gets activated, which then of course plays out in the relationship. And how many of you believe or have been experiencing, at least to some degree, that there are some real new opportunities for you to learn and grow as a couple? Oh, lots of hands on that. I love seeing that.
Actually, that probably is why they signed up.
Yeah, because the people who wouldn't raise their hands didn't sign up.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to do one last guided meditation tonight. And this one's really a meditation. It's a meditation on the connection between you and your partner and on the qualities of empathy and compassion. So actually, if you're with your partner, separate just a little physically so you're not like all over each other like we are. You'll get to come back together again in a few minutes. Okay. And close your eyes, please. And as you breathe, bring your breath into the center of your chest, into your heart center. Literally feel the breath coming in and touching the center of your chest. In your mind's eye, I want you to see an image of your partner as if they were sitting or standing in front of you, and you're looking at them. And see that face that you know so well. And feel the quality of space between the two of you. They're over there, you're here. And what's the space feel like between the two of you? As you feel into, we could call it your relational space, your relational field with you and this other person. What's the quality of that field feel like? In a moment, I'm going to count to 3. And I want you to do something very unusual. When I count to 3, you're going to literally step into your partner's body and become their body. Don't think about it, just do it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Imagine you're stepping into their body now, and as you breathe next, you're breathing, you are their body, you are them living inside their body. And I want you to immediately notice this body is different than yours. It may be a different gender, it may be a different size, it may be a different age, but I want you to feel what it's like to be in this body. And now imagining you're this person, I want you to stand up. Again, in your mind's eye, you're standing up as this person, and I want you to go for a walk as this person walks. And you're walking around someplace safe, maybe outside. And as you're walking, feel how this person strides through life because they carry themselves differently than you do. And I want you to feel what it's like for them to walk through the world. And so imagine that now. You're walking in their body as they walk, feeling the way their body feels to them. And you know this other person. And as you're walking in this body, know what it feels like to them, because we all have different feelings about our body. Parts of our body we feel good about. Maybe there are different abilities to this body. Maybe there are challenges for this body. Maybe there are parts of this body that this person wishes they didn't have, or parts of the body that they love and cherish. And so as you're being in their body, inhabiting their body, feel how they feel in their body and about their body as they live this life. And now imagine you're this person. And as you scan out from this person into their life, what inspires you as this person? What inspires you? What gives you hope and energy and passion and feeling? As this person, what makes you anxious? What are the fears you have? Particularly over these past months, because it's been an interesting time. What keeps you up at night? What makes you anxious? What causes you to have fear? And how do you hold that? How do you experience that as this other? As this other, particularly at this time in life, what do you long for as this other? What do you long for? What do you yearn for? What do you wish for, dream for? And as this other, every human heart carries grief and loss. And there's also a time of loss in this world, but also in their life. As this other, what is the loss, the pain, the grief that you carry in your heart? And feel it as this other person feels. And now, as this other, imagine you're lying in bed, you've been asleep, you're in their body, and you wake up. And how do you feel as you meet the day as this other? There are certain qualities of how people relate to life. And as this other, as you wake up in the morning, how do you greet the morning? And what does that feel like as this other? And I want you to live a life now, of the kind of life you've been living as this other these past months. And sort of like walk through their day and live in their day as they live through their day, the different experiences they have. Notice the experiences that you're having as them that feel good, that feel pleasurable in some way. And some of the experiences that you feel averse to, that feel unpleasant, that you wish you weren't having. It's almost like you're exploring your life freshly through their eyes, their life, as they see it and feel it. What are the burdens that you carry as this person? The kind of weight on your shoulders, the things that feel like heavy in some way, responsibilities. And what are the joys? The things that just light you up as this person. And now, as this person, you're meeting a very important person in your life. And now you come face to face with yourself as they see you and feel you. And so you're in their body looking at yourself right up front. And I want you to kind of open the heart to kind of feel the range of feelings. There is love there, and feel what it is like to feel the love for you from their heart. It's your heart now, looking at yourself. The love that you feel. The connection that you feel. Also, you're a piece of work sometimes, okay? So notice the ways in which the challenges that you present to that they present to you, you're them, that you present to them, but from them. See the buttons that they push. Feel the buttons they push in you. Feel those things like you wish you could just change in your partner. That's you, by the way, to make them more the way they would like you to be. And feel the deep appreciation that you have for who this person is and the gifts they bring you. Anything else that's interesting to see yourself through their eyes? In a moment, I'm going to count from 3 to 2 to 1. When I reach 1, you're going to come back into your own body. 3, 2, 1. You're in your own body. Take a breath. Feel your own heart. And again, in your mind's eye now, you're looking at your partner just as you did 7 minutes ago. But notice what feels different in the relational field from having experienced life as they experience it and experiencing yourself as they experience you. As Judith mentioned earlier, they're giving you the most precious gift another person can give, to walk through this life with you. Because imagine for a moment what it'd be like to be living these months without them, on your own, alone in life. And so taking this moment for looking at them with an open heart, your own sense of compassion, your desire now for your desire that they be happy, that they be fulfilled. Your own compassion, your own empathy for this person that you walk this life with. Take a deep breath. And open your eyes.
Great. And for those of you next to your beloved, just say thank you to each other. And for those of you not, send that air kiss, heart love to your partner. And, you know, in our longer workshops, this would be a time then where you would have an opportunity to really share about your insight and experience. So I'd really encourage you to do that at some time after we're done tonight, because we can't do it here.
This is one thing. Also, if you'd like to do the 30-minute version of that guided meditation, it's on our website for free available.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's a nice, long, extended version of that, which you can do. And we, you know, people do it often. It's not a one shot. So friends, where we're going to head now is we've kind of distilled out 6 practices that we think are particularly important at this time. They're things that we have worked with and continue to work with. And they're practices that are universal in terms of relational success and enjoyment. But we picked out ones that felt particularly pertinent and alive at this time when we're walking through this kind of territory together. So the first is, which you've all done, most of you have done already tonight, and saw lots of hands, is invest in your relationship. You know, relationships, sometimes it can get lost in the busyness of all that we're doing and all we have to accomplish and all kinds of obligations and commitments and interests and just the many details of life. And what we've all noticed is that our relationships thrive when we attend to them, just like your work thrives or your creativity thrives when we give attention and energy to them. So making your relationship a priority. We have a concept we use that we developed or named it this way many years ago, which we call about the sacred third, which is the notion that there's Robert and me, you and me, but then there's this living entity of the vessel or chalice of our relationship that we both want to be feeding. It's not me or you or what do you want and what do I want, but it's what does the we need and how do we feed water and feed the fire and water that aspect of our shared life. When we're stressed, when we're tired, when we're overwhelmed, when we're scared, when there's a lot going on in our inner world and our outer world, it's really easy to forget to do this. And, you know, for most of us, I know it's true for me, when we haven't been connecting in a good way or too much time has gone by, I can start to feel less balanced, less grounded. That fabric of connection is important, and it's especially important during times of stress and challenge, that we want to make time for that. One way we like to hold this is the notion that we're always making love. We're always making love. Love making is not something that happens when it happens or when you've made a date to have it happen. We're not talking about making love in the sexual sense, although that's really a nice part of relationship, to keep that sensual connection alive in whatever way is true for you at this point in your lives. But the notion that love making is in how we look at each other, in how we say, good morning, what you got going on today? Oh, you've got 3 clients. Oh, well, I hope it goes well. And just that quality of attention and communication that comes with loving presence. And it doesn't need to take a lot of time. It's just choosing many moments. There's a phrase from our own meditation practice that rather than thinking about like, oh, I'm going to become awake, it's like there's many, many short moments of being awake. And that's all a life is these moment by moment experiences. So rather than thinking like we have to, you know, always be connecting, no, but make many short moments of connection. Make this time precious. Remember that this is precious.
So we think of this as a practice. Really, it's the practice of investing the time, of choosing to make our relationship important, sacred. So if you kind of look back at the last couple of months, how are you doing? You know, is it kind of just individual reflection? You know, do you feel like, yeah, you know, like we've really been choosing to do that during this time? Or like, yeah, we've been doing it, but, you know, we could do a little better the next cycle. Or like, yeah, I've been elsewhere. So just a good kind of time for reflection. And again, for those of you who came as a couple, to kind of take these questions after our time together would be awesome. And those of you here alone, what a lovely thing to bring to your partnership, to kind of reflect on some of these together. Mm-hmm. Okay, so yes, these practices are always useful for couples. This is kind of a special time. I started noticing that in the work groups, a lot of teams we're working with, people are getting edgy with each other. yes, we love each other, but like being with each other 24/7 sometimes can be like a little annoying too. And what we found is like almost inventing new ground rules, some of the teams we work with, but I think for couples also, it's the notion that be gentle and patient and forgiving. You're going to bump more during this time because you're in close quarters with each other. And when the bump happens, you can go different ways. Like, why did you bump me? Or like, we have to work this out. Or like, it was a bump.
It was a bump.
It was a bump. I still love you. It was a bump. And so this notion of being extra tender during this time with each other, to be gentle, patient, forgiving, that's been helpful to us. It's been helpful to a lot of couples we've worked with. And again, it's not that you wouldn't normally do this. It's just like, this is when to turn up the flame yourself.
Extra kindness.
Extra kindness. Yeah.
And extra tolerance, right? And I was going to say, Robert, when you say bump, one of the things that I think our practice has really given us over the years is that even big bumps, we recover from much more quickly. And so it's the same notion as these short moments. It's like, oh, we had a edgy interaction, or his tone of voice was off, or, I was angry, or whatever it might be. And we just, come back home. It's like, in the great scheme of things, if your partner was critically ill, it wouldn't matter. So like, just hold it with that quality of love and kindness.
This notion of recovery is really important. It's someone asked the founders of keto once, Master, how do you stay centered all the time? And he said, oh, I'm not centered all the time. I merely recover faster than I used to. And I would say that's what we've learned over 50 years. Yeah, we still bump. It's because of her fault usually.
Well, he doesn't have the right personality, right?
But we recover faster. What used to send us into kind of 2 days of intense process or alienation, often it's like a minute or two.
Yeah.
We come back.
Great. And so just take a moment again to reflect on, over these past couple of months, how have you been doing with being kind and gentle and forgiving and, letting go, treating each other with kindness? Have you been doing pretty well? Okay, but we could use a tune-up, or boy, I could really use a tune-up. And so just take your time. And these are great things to talk about after we're done this evening. So one of our hopes is we have such a short time is that there'll be some hints and inspiration to have you having conversations and doing things together that will help foster having a good time together. Third practice, caring for your beloved. So this is the notion of, we all have ways in which we take care of one another. We do it in different ways, probably. We each have the things that come naturally to us. This is a great time to think about, how could I do that even more? How could I even be more loving and supportive, and to be really curious about the things that make me feel loved and supported. Those are different, actually, than what makes Robert feel loved and supported. So it's a great conversation to have. Like, how could I help you during this time feel even more cared for? What might that be?
Even you're asking the question,
Uh-huh.
I feel more loved and cared for.
See? So that's a conversation to have, right? Is be curious. Don't just assume you already know, or just assume. I have learned over the years, quite humbly, that the things that I think are loving, like my children in particular, have found really annoying. So it's really good to get the feedback, is what I could say about that. We have different ways of dealing with stress. It's really important to, again, this goes back to kindness and tolerance, but, we know at this point in our lives how we are when we get thrown off. And it's a lovely practice to think about, how could I be the person that helps my partner right their ship? How could I be that person that helps them regain their center and their sense of well-being and safety?
Okay, so you may have seen the people do the complete works of Shakespeare in 2 minutes. So here is a full day in one of our retreats. Take responsibility for your experience in the relationship, but really It's like I made a little joke a little while ago. Yes, it's annoying because of the way she is. We have such creative power to kind of create and discreate the relationship we want. Very often the things that feel like they're off in the relationship, we become experts in how our partner is at fault for those. And yet always, we can't change our partner, but we can always change how we're relating to what's going on. And we really believe that the couple relationship is you don't have to go to India to go to an ashram for your spiritual development. Your teacher's right here with you. If you accept the teaching, if you honor the teacher, and accept what arises in you, as something, as grist for the mill, as they say, it's the best. It's the best spiritual path there is. But it asks that we get off of the blame and the lens of fault and turn all that wonderful attention to, like, what can I learn here? And where am I denying my own creative power? Where am I falling into kind of a victim place? And the opportunity to kind of step into myself and bring myself here more fully.
How many of you, raise your hands, are experts on how your partner could improve and be a happier and better human being? Right?
What about the two people who didn't raise their
I
hands?
don't know. They're better.
Okay.
They're way more evolved
I
than
want to
I
be
am.
in their workshop.
So that I just did that because that helps us see. It's like, I have been so full of good advice for Robert over the years. Really. I mean, I'm smart. I'm psychologically savvy. I'm relatively spiritually savvy. I know exactly what he needs to do to be a better Robert and to irritate me less, right? And so we all have versions of this. So really this invitation about self-responsibility is, rather than trying to fix it out there, what's arising in me that thinks there's something wrong with this person, that's trying to adjust them? Can I bring that attention home to myself? Usually under that is some anxiety, some fear, some lack of safety. So that is the work of taking responsibility. What can I do to create more of the energy I want, rather than blaming them for not doing it?
There's an important corollary question to your first one. You asked how many have become experts. For those of you who've been experts, how successful have you been in your self-improvement program for your partner? And so the reason why we start learning to take responsibility after 40 years or so of marriage over here is I tried everything I could think of to change her. It just didn't work. So I was sort of left with, I guess I have to turn my attention to myself. And that's worked better.
Yes. Okay. Next practice. We kind of addressed this a little around the introvert, extrovert. How many of you need more space? How many of you want more connection? And does that sometimes become a place of friction between you? So we're wired differently, in a certain psychological lens. We can talk about having a different attachment style, and some people really resource by going off alone, and it's actually a good thing, but then they also may be people who distance and isolate when they're uncomfortable. Other people become resource from connection, and it also can have kind of a neurotic edge to it where we're feeling incomplete in ourselves, so we feel like we need something. So all those kinds of dynamics can get really kicked up during this kind of time. Again, really useful to be able to name that, to know each other, to know yourself, and then to be able to negotiate. Like I would say a great success in our relationship over the years, many, many decades of being together, has being able to learn to say cleanly, I love you, and I want to curl up tonight with a book. I don't want to talk. No, I don't want to make love. I love you, but no, I want to pull the covers around me, and to say that cleanly, to give space cleanly, so that those differences, to be clear, especially when we're forced together so much at this point, it's like, okay, we're going to have our separate day. We're going to get together and make dinner together. I'm going to call Robert if I'm going to able to go for a walk to see if he's free. Make the times you can count on, leave room for spontaneity, but also be clear when either or both of you are wanting space for whatever reason, for work or just that time to resource in yourself.
Okay, friends. So we'd like to give you a little time now to dialogue together. So for those of you in a couple, we're going to give you a question to address together. For those of you who are here separately, this would be a great time to take that question, do some journaling, and then bring that into a dialogue, if you're willing, with your partner. It's a very, very simple question, but it really kind of arises out of everything we've asked or shared this evening, which is, well, first of all, we're starting to realize this thing isn't over. You know, like, it's not like it was 4 weeks, now it's back to normal. We don't know what we're going into, but it's sort of not exactly what it was before. So as we kind of go into this next period of our life, because this isn't just a vacation from life, this looks like it is our life. What are the opportunities for us as a couple to deepen during this time? Even looking at the next 2-3 months, say, even just that far in the future, what are the opportunities for us to deepen into intimacy, to deepen into harmony, into connection with each other, to kind of tune up our relationship? What are the opportunities? And what's one practice that we might like do together? It could be a very, very, very simple thing, you know, that we decide to,
one thing we did after actually running one of these for some people who've been in trainings was we reactivated making sure we do at least one dance a day. One dance a day. So we don't go to bed unless we've done at least one dance together.
Yeah, so talk together about what are the opportunities for us to kind of use this next period of time to tune up our relationship, to deepen. And if you have the time to kind of look at, and what's one thing we'd actually like to evoke or bring into our shared life together.
Yeah, and you might each have one and agree to do two things. That could be a daily practice. It could be once a week. We're gonna like go for a hike in a new place, anything really.
Yeah. So we're just gonna give you, it's just gonna be for 10 minutes. Then we have a really kind of lovely ending we want to do. So make sure you come back at the time. We'll ring a little bell for you. For those of you who are journaling, so this is a lovely opportunity, actually, in a way enhanced by your partner not being here, to take responsibility for the relationship, to do your own reflection on what you could do to tune up, and then to bring that to your partner by the dialogue.
Great.
Okay, so turn towards your partner. Those who are here, take up your pen. Those who are here alone, and we'll call you back in 9 or 10 minutes.
And stop. And if you would just turn this way once more. So we just want to say we're going to turn it over to Hollyhock in just a minute. Thank you all so much for showing up. It's fun for us. You know, we're seeing a lot of people here, and it's so lovely. And we're very sad to not be able to go to Cortez, where it's been a place of return for us for 25 years, and Hollyhock has been a real home, and we really, really miss it. And let's just hope that next year we'll all be back and in good health, and we hope to see many of you at a retreat with us next summer. Let's hold that vision. And the other thing I want to say is, you know, Hollyhock is being so beautifully generous and offering this opportunity, many opportunities through these little free workshops. And they are also hurting financially because they've had to lay off a lot of staff. There's no program income. So if you feel inspired, please, please consider donating whatever you can to help them survive, help them pay their staff, keep things going. I know they're running their garden and bringing food to the community there on Cortez. So anything you can offer, I know would be deeply appreciated. Thank you, Hollyhock.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Robert and Judith. This is Ling. Hi, everybody. Hi. I'm just popping in here. I know we've got a little bit of internet stuff on Cortez. It's been a bit of a spotty day. So I'm just going to practice my appreciations and deeply, deeply thank the both of you, Robert and Judith. You know, how we show up in these times is such a testament to these relationships, and the way that you continue to show up for us and our community and all the alumni of your workshops is just, it's so, I feel it right here in my heart, and I can see the connection that's happening on the screen. Thank you for your wholehearted yeses. And thank you for the levity that you bring to this work and that you continue to share with us. Even though we can't be together, I can't wait to hug you both in person on the deck soon. Very soon, I hope. And to all of you for showing up tonight, thank you for carving out this time. I know it's the end of long Zoom days for those of us who are still working and on the screen a lot. Thank you for making the time. Thank you also for those of you who did donate and mentioning that, Robert and Judith. It really is touching us how much people are coming back with so much heartfelt generosity. So with that, I invite you all, if you can find your mute buttons, to please unmute and say goodbye before you sign off, because we'd love to hear your voices.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shelton. Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Next
you.
one.
Back to Cortez soon.
Thank you.
Hey, Joel and
Nice
Dana.
job.
Thank you. Thanks, Robert. Judith and Robert from Cortez. It's Martha.